and perhaps one of the best turns of AEW in the women's division in quite some time. Mariah May has double crossed, has completely turned on Toni Storm to end off AEW Dynamite tonight. Guys, Dynamite ended a little over 30, 40 minutes ago. And wow, I mean, I figured the turn would happen, but the way that they executed this was just amazing. Did not expect it to happen this soon. Just last week we saw MJF turn on Danny Garcia, but this was something here how this was done. You know, Mariah May, I think we all expected she was going to beat Willa Nightingale, get the title shot in London at All In against Toni Storm. They've been telling, building the story with this for months now. You know, it was actually last year at All In that Toni Storm lost. I believe it was her second title ring as the AEW Women's Champion. She lost, and that's when Saraya won it. And sometime after that, at that time, she was still doing her regular Toni Storm gimmick. And a little bit after that, after she lost the title, she went a little bit crazy, and that's when she started doing the timeless gimmick. And at that point, that's when Mariah, when she did sign with AEW, you know, I'm not familiar with her New Japan work, her stuff in Japan, but you know, from the lady that man, her name will slip my head right now, but from the one that Toni Storm just faced at Forbidden Door, they were actually a tag team before she came to AEW, and you know they instantly put her with Toni, and they've been telling that story for months now. Like she's been, you know, siding with Toni, like she's been the fan of Toni. Toni's been like her mentor, and now she finally gets what she wants. She gets the title shot against Toni, and they're all celebrating on the ring. They're all running up the apron, and all of a sudden she just clocks her with her title, knocks out Luther. Luther, you know, falls through the table, which was kind of funny. You know, Luther tried to stop it. She whacked Luther, knocked him through the table. Then she, you know, just started constantly yanking, just you know, hitting Toni Storm time and time again. And Toni started bleeding. Then she started kissing on her forehead or whatnot, and it was brutal. She even knocked out Ari Edwards, and we know Ari Edwards. You know, she's had several run-ins with wrestlers, particularly like a lot of the men guys like Chris Jericho and some of them, but she even knocked her out, knocked one of the referees out. This is the most intensity that we've seen in Mariah May, you know, since she's been in AEW. And she's a really good wrestler from what I've seen. But this is going to really blow down. And I got to say, like, the way this was done was just top tier. Um, Quite frankly, I enjoy this even more so than the end of last week because it just kind of came out of nowhere. I think, you know, you knew it would happen. You knew that it was gonna happen at some point. That Tony was going to not Tony. That's a you know that Mariah was gonna turn on Tony, but you know you didn't think it would happen this early. And now that she's got that shot, now that she beat Willow Nightingale, prevented her from winning 2 years in a row the Owen Hart's tournament, which really, you know, uh, she pinned um, Willow clean, but Willow also got screwed by Chris Stanlatter and Stolfi Hathaway, who got involved and pretty much, you know, attacked her during the match, and you know, were pretty much one of the reasons why she didn't win. But I think we all expected that. I mean, as nice as it would have been for Willow to win it twice, the story here has been about Mariah and Tony, and it's funny because, you know, during the time that the timeless gimmick first started, you know, Tony was technically still a heel, but she just got so over with it, and then with Mariah being with her, she just gotten so over with this thing, and you know, Mariah has like come out with the old music of Tony before she started the timeless stuff. which, like I said, that it didn't really start till after she lost the title last year at all, and that's when she started doing it. That's when she kind of went into insanity when she lost the title last year at all in. And she could be losing it again because I think Mariah might be the one to dethrone her. I could definitely see it happening when you consider the fact that Tony's been champ since what, Full Gear. I think that's when she beat Hikaru Shida. I mean, that's when she beat Shida for it. And that, so she's in like her third ring because her first ring was a little bit weird because that it was like considered interim reign at first, but then when they realized that Thunder Rosa really wasn't going to come back, then they considered it as a an actual reign of her being champ. So it was a little bit weird, how that whole thing played out. But I want to say currently she's in what, like her third ring. Is it her second ring? I get a little bit confused. I know she beat Jamie Hayter for the title at Double or Nothing last year, which was Jamie Hayter's last match at Double or Nothing last year. So I definitely want to say it's her third because actually Jamie Hayter beat her for the title at Full Gear, which is when they had officially recognized it was Full Gear 2022 classic match between the two. That's when they officially recognized both of their reigns as actual title reigns and not interim title reigns when they realized that Thunder Rosa wasn't going to come back and be back anytime soon from her injury. But but yeah, man, it this was done perfectly here. I mean, she was just a bloody pope. Toni was a bloody pope. She was crying, and Maria got the shoe and just kept smashing Toni with it. So definitely looking forward to this match. A lot of other stuff happened on Dynamite too. You had Bryan Danielson win the Owen Hart Cup. Looks like he's going to be facing Swerve at All In. Um, I really thought maybe Heyman was going to win this, but instead they had Bryan Danielson win it. Telling the bigger story. Can he finally win the championship, win a title in AEW before he hangs up his full time career as a wrestler and go part time? Um, you know, and perhaps that's the reason they had him win instead of having Heyman win. But Heyman's still going to be involved at Blood and Guts, which originally last week he rejected, but now that he's lost, he knows this is the only way he can get his hands on Swerve. Once Swerve announced early in the night that he was going to be part of Team AEW, now all of a sudden Heyman Page wants to be a part of Team Elite, which he had previously rejected because he said he was going to go and win the whole Owens Cup so he can get a title match with Swerve Strickland. But now they're gonna have it's gonna be Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland. So really looking forward to how that plays out. Whether Swerve can retain the title yet again, or if we're gonna see a title change. But also the Blood and Guts, match as well with him and Heyman on opposite teams. But yeah, you had a lot of stuff happen. I mean, that match he had with Heyman was really good. Um, was pretty long, but it was good for what it was. And you had the excitement, with Jericho and what he did with Samoa Joe taking him out. Even though the wall was like really visible, the type of wall they were using when he put him on the forklift and everything and won the match in that fashion. So you had some other things going on. It shows, Mercedes kind of promo on Britt Baker attacks the security, and you're still building towards that. But I definitely just wanted to mainly talk about the closing. I actually missed the opening with MJF and Will Ospreay, but it seemed pretty good from what I've heard in regards to it. The promos they cut on against each other. They had a fatal four-way to determine who would face the champ, the Continental Champion, Will Ospreay. Well, no, not the Continental Champion, but the International Champion, Will Ospreay. Outside of MJF next week, who's getting a shot next week, and it was Pac who actually won the match. So perhaps, you know, since they've decided for some reason to do MJF and Will Ospreay next week instead of saving it for All In, It looks as though since Pac wasn't at All In last year because he was injured, looks like instead they're gonna do Pac and Osprey at All In potentially. Looks to be the direction they're gonna go in MJF and Danny Garcia. Um, you know, which is very interesting. Seems to be that direction they're going to go. But I just mainly wanted to talk about, this angle here. I think it was really good. And I think, it definitely builds to the tension, with the women's division. And, we haven't seen something like this in quite some time. But, you know, you see the commentators was like, Tony Schiavone was like, was this like a ruse? Has she been faking this whole time? It's funny, because she's been dressing up like Tony. She's been really acting like Tony is like her, you know, like she wants to be just like her, coming out with her music, using some of her move sets and everything. And all it took was for her to get a title shot against her, and now she, really took it out on Tony. Now, does this mean that Tony is going to stop, this gimmick she's been doing ever since she's been tied with Toni Storm? Well, that remains to be seen. But it would kind of come full circle, though. She did, stop the gimmick and kind of just go back to the no nonsense, Toni Storm. Because keep in mind, when she first came to AEW, she was bringing it, and she still does it now. But with the gimmick and everything, it kind of adds the spice to the matches. But it should be interesting. Like, is she gonna come back out with the music herself? Um, and we're gonna get like a really more serious version of Tony that we previously seen between them. It should be interesting. You see, if we're gonna get that now that they're going in this direction with her and Mariah May. If that's going to be like the nail in the coffin to this. But, perhaps she may feel that she still wants to go this route. But man, this was definitely a effective angle to close Dynamite. Um, you got to close big, and they definitely did it here. So I just wanted to talk about that, guys. Looking forward to this match for all, and I do think Mariah May is going to beat Tony. I really do. I would be surprised if Tony retains here, because Tony's been champ. Like I said, this particular reign she's on right now, she's been champ for a while. She's been champ literally since Full Gear last year. I want to say that's when she beat Okora Shida for it, because Shida had beat Paige for it um, on an episode of Dynamite, and I'm trying to remember exactly what that episode was. It may have been the anniversary. Was it the 5th anniversary of Dynamite? No, I can't even think. This year, it's been 5 years that Dynamite has been out. But I want to say it was like the anniversary show last year when she beat her and won the title. Um, and then Tony Storm ended up beating her at Full Gear. So she's definitely been champ for quite some time. Um, but yeah, I think Mariah is going to be the one to do it. Mariah is going to be the one to do it. I think she's going to be the one to beat her. I could definitely see that happening for sure. So that's pretty much it, guys. Signing off, Ray Master Flex, and like, comment, subscribe. Peace.